Hey everyone, welcome to the podcast. This is your host Yoshino, and you are listening to Artist Decoded. Alright, so right now it's 6:20 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Saturday, July 23rd. And I have been researching a lot, specifically within the topic of the Daemon. And essentially what the Daemon is it's a calling that calls you to do something. It is the creative voice that is outside of yourself, but is also in being funneled through you, essentially. And the other day I was running with my training partner, and lately we've been training at 7:30 a.m. and we train about 3 hours a day, almost every single day, about 6 days a week right now. And the reason why I bring that up is because we were running and I was telling him that we have to turn habits into breathing. It has to be something, so for instance, running, it has to be something that is a necessity in order for you to do it, right? It's like eating or drinking water. And I was relating it to the creative process, but I was also relating it specifically to running at that moment. And I think that there's a confluence between all of these things that we do, these habits, these things that we form. There's this author, the Swiss Jungian psychologist and scholar. Her name is Marie-Louise von Franz. And how this relates to creativity, I think, is she has this quote, and it's, "If there is something creative inside of you that you do not bring forward, it will turn into a kind of poison." And so that quote was really powerful. And, I was thinking about these daily decisions that we make, and going back to that idea of turning habits into the breath, something that you have to do. This creativity is funneled and channeled through you. And while I was reading this Philip K. Dick book recently called Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, I took out this quote, and I really like it when you can read fiction novels specifically, because there's going to be points in the novel where the author essentially tells you what they think about the world, or gives you a window into their train of thought about how they view the world, right? And it has to be decoded in a way, as opposed to nonfiction, where in nonfiction it typically the author is talking about a specific subject, right? So Philip K. Dick wrote this in his book. "The old man said, 'You will be required to do wrong no matter where you go. It is the basic condition of life, to be required to violate your own identity. At some time, every creature which lives must do so. It is the ultimate shadow, the defeat of creation. This is the curse at work, the curse that feeds on all life, everywhere in the universe.'" This modern day world isn't conducive for creative people. And why is that, right? Think about that. Why is that? So, another thing that came up, and I'm just kind of like giving you all a download from just my notes and my life, and essentially things that I'm constantly writing down and digesting. And one of my friends sent me this, When you don't have to worry about paying bills, you have time to think. That makes you extremely dangerous. This is why it is designed for us to never reach that level. If you're always in survival mode, you will never have time or energy to maximize your potential. And I think that's incredibly true. So the dangerous thing, right, for artists and creatives out there is to be able to reach that potential. Because these ideas can flow through you, as the Daemon, or the idea of the Daemon suggests. So let me go back to that idea really quick. So the idea of the Daemon originates from Greek mythology, and the Romans regurgitated it essentially as the genius. They call it the genius. And the idea is that the creativity isn't about you necessarily, but it's channeled through you. It's this external force, and you are the vessel of the creative energy, right? And so to go back to this quote, when you don't have to worry about paying bills, you have time to think, which makes you extremely dangerous. So I really think that we need to protect our time and to protect our energy in order for us to tap into our intuition. And if we're able to channel ourselves into that intuition, whether it's from an external force or an internal force or wherever that may be, but to channel yourself into that, I feel like you can find purpose in this life. And something that I recently read, so there's this, I'm kind of throwing it all at you. So in this book, The Myth of the Birth of the Hero by Otto Rank, he talks about this idea that everyone is a hero in their birth. And that's a really powerful statement, because I think a lot of the times people get down on themselves because they feel like a failure, or they feel like their life has no purpose. But don't you have purpose? I mean, you exist, right? At least that's the idea. You think you exist in your corporeal form. And everyone is a hero in their birth. So I think we kind of have to bring it back down to simple things. I mean, this appreciation that you can create, this appreciation that you do exist. And I think by merely existing, you should be able to create. And if you don't create, similar to that Marie-Louise von Franz quote, if there is something creative inside of you that you do not bring forward, it will turn into a kind of poison. Let's sit on that for a bit, because I think that's true. And I think that behooves all of us to turn our habits into breathing, to create fluidly, to tap into our intuition, to channel those creative gods, that creative energy and spirit. And I really want to encourage that, not even just this weekend, but encourage that for your life. And we all need things, people, ideas to help us along the way, because there's so many distractions out there, right? But at the end of the day, you are the horse leading yourself to water, and it's your chance, your opportunity to take that sip, to take that drink. All right, so that's all I really want to talk about right now. I'm putting together my thoughts in a much more tangible way, but sometimes the muse calls and the muse knocks on the door and you have to say stuff. You have to listen to that. Anyways, I hope you all have a great weekend, or if you're listening to this during the week, have a great week. If you like to follow Artist Decoded, you can find us, well, you're listening to this right now, but you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you listen to Artist Decoded, or on artistdecoded.com. If you like to follow me on social media platforms, I'm at Yoshino Studios. If you like to follow Artist Decoded, it's at Artist Decoded. And thanks for tuning in. Hope you all have a great week, day, year, life. Bye.